Hi guys, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm doing another Top 5 Wednesday. As always, the Goodreads group is in the description below if you want to check that out. This week's topic is our favorite villains. I love a good villain, a well-constructed character with a good backstory and interesting motives, and sometimes the villain can be the most interesting part of the story and like the driving force behind it. So I am really excited to do this video. Starting off my list, I have a Harry Potter character because we were told not to pick Harry Potter, and it's my video and I'm gonna pick who I want. So while Umbridge is my least favorite Harry Potter character and probably the most villainous and hated character of all, my favorite Harry Potter villain is actually Professor Snape. And while he's kind of the good guy, kind of the bad guy, and it's not until the very end of the series that we find out exactly where he falls, he definitely has his bad guy moments. Throughout the entire book for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry and the trio actually think that Snape's trying to kill him, even though he's trying to save Harry's life. I mean, how awful a character do you have to be that somebody misinterprets saving their life for trying to kill them? Snape's hatred of Harry for his dad, basically. Not even stuff Harry did. Especially in the first book. Snape is so blinded by his hatred that he doesn't see the truth and will automatically blame Harry whenever anything goes wrong, whether Harry was responsible or not. While I love Snape as a character and find him highly entertaining and funny, to actually be a 10-year-old student in Snape's classroom would be terrifying. And so, yeah, that's its own special kind of villainy. Then we have my all-time favorite villain. It is Loki from the Marvel Comics and to some degree Norse mythology, but let's be realistic, most of my love of Loki comes from the Marvel Comics and the movies with Tom Hiddleston playing him. Loki's so interesting because sometimes Loki's kind of cool. Like, the god of mischief isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, he's just out there having fun. I don't know. And there's something about Loki's characteristics, his playful manner, and the way that he logically thinks things out first, makes him a more interesting character than Thor, who is like, I'm going to be the good guy and rush in with the hammer to save the day. And Thor's kind of more one-dimensional compared to Loki, who has all this stuff going on. So I enjoy Loki more. And even in the Agent of Asgard comics, where Loki is the good guy, he's also still up against Loki. Like, the only villain that could possibly be worthy of Loki is himself. So next up, I have Dr. Victor Frankenstein from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So the doctor in the story is the one who creates the creature. And the creature is made up of all these dead body parts. It's a conglomeration of lots of different dead people. But it's what happens after he creates the creature that I think makes him much more villainous. The creature didn't ask to be brought to life, and he doesn't know what's going on. And when the doctor sees him, he freaks out, like he wasn't trying to do this in the first place. So the creature is left abandoned and to fend for himself and try to figure out his place in the world. And when he does come back to Frankenstein to ask him for help, Frankenstein also still refuses. And there's just something really annoying about Frankenstein that makes me hate him for this. That not only he brought this creature to life, but that he won't take responsibility for it and won't help it. Another one of my favorite and interesting villains is Morgana, or Morgan Le Fay, from the King Arthur stories. I haven't actually read Thomas Mallory's Le Morte d'Arthur, but most of my ideas of Morgana come from movies and television. But she's always this character that could fall either way depending on how the story is being told and written and what time period it's coming from. Where sometimes she's helpful, the sorceress who has healing powers, and sometimes she's the bad guy actively trying to thwart Arthur and lead his knights astray. And so I think it's this duality where you never really know. Really, you do know, but like, it's this duality where it really could be either one in this one person that makes Morgana so interesting. Next, I have my favorite Shakespearean villain, who is Iago from Othello. So, in the story, everything that happens pretty much can be boiled down to Iago interfering and talking into Othello's ear, and Othello choosing to believe him. And the entire, like, the whole idea that one character can have that much power and can set all these things in motion is really fascinating and interesting, and Iago definitely is this conniving, smooth-talking character that it's like I hate you, but at the same time I can't turn away. Like I hate, but I'm still fascinated by Iago, and that's why he is one of my favorite villains to watch. So the last of my favorite villains on this list is Queen Levana from the Lunar Chronicles. She's also the one that I hate the most. Like, she is up there on my hatred of villains with Umbridge. I'm not exactly sure which one's worse, but it might be Levana just because it's on a much larger scale. The first time we meet Levana, she's the Queen of the Moon, and she's trying to coerce Kai into marrying her against his will. And that in and of itself is pretty bad. But as we get further along in the series, Levana just seems to get worse. Even in Fairest, which completely follows Levana's backstory, by the end of the book, I'm still hating her, even though I understand where she came from. It's just, oh, she's horrible and awful, and it's really hard to describe without spoiling the series. So guys, you should totally read this. But basically, so many things in this series is Levana's fault. There's some other things that, like, Levana inherited from her sister and parents, but Levana didn't exactly make those better either. I cannot think of like a single redeeming quality to Levana, honestly. She is just the utmost worst. And I hate her, but at the same time, I love to hate her too. Like, the way she's written is without Levana, there really isn't the grand battle and fight that happens in Lunar Chronicles without her. And so I would not say she's my favorite. I would not want to have tea with Levana or anything, but she definitely drives the story and makes it more interesting. So guys, those are my top favorite villains from books and series. Let me know what your favorites are, if you agree or disagree with any of my picks, and hopefully I described them well enough without not spoiling any of these books too badly. Yeah. Peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.